Guys, you're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's time for British Wrestling's sharpshooter, your host, Stu Palmer.
I just got this feeling that I've never ever had. Who am I believing? Can you tell me again?
Well, welcome. It is episode 85, and my guest today is Hayche Haidry, but you will know him most notably as wrestler, the Middle Eastern millionaire Sheikh El Sham. Hayche has been one of the top wrestlers on the UK circuit. He's been booked far and wide. You get to hear about him developing the Middle Eastern millionaire moniker, building up with that, taking on Impact's Moose at Preston City Wrestling in 2019. H also says about backstage etiquette with veterans of pro wrestling. He also talks about the in-ring psychology and telling a story in a wrestling match too. He's ahead of year in the school here in the UK. You'll get to hear about that. He's also gone into film and TV. He's done some stuff for Netflix. There is a big project as well due to come out on Prime Video. He's been doing script reads for season 1 of that show. You'll get to hear about that. So, without further ado, my guest this week is the Middle Eastern millionaire Sheikh El Sham, also known as by his real name, Hayche Haidry. Enjoy. My guest this afternoon, we're back in the UK finally as well. We've been in the US for quite a while with our guests. It is good to have some homegrown talent on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today. It is Hayche Haidry, but you will know him also as Sheikh El Sham. How's it going, H?
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Stu. It's an absolute pleasure to be on, mate. It's really good to see you.
You're looking well, mate. You're looking well. I know now we're looking at, there's a time frame now with shows starting back up on the wrestling circuit. How are you feeling about that? I know a lot of people have said, what have you done in the pandemic, this, that and the other, but we won't focus on that because now I think we're going to be making some headway with scheduling with shows, aren't we?
Oh, definitely. There's a huge buzz in there going around at the minute. You see it on social media. Everybody's now talking about coming back, and I think the fans are excited. The wrestlers are definitely. I'm definitely excited. I'm just looking forward to. It's been a long slog since anybody's done anything. So it's just going to be so good to be back out there and just enjoy yourself and do what everybody loves. You know.
When's your first booking? Where's the first show for you, man?
So mine is actually on the 28th and 29th of May of this month. So that's all for All Star. So I'm looking forward to going back over and working for All Star because they gave me they gave me my break as well. Just looking forward to working with people like Dean Allmark and James Mason. You can only learn from the best, can't you? So.
Absolutely. They don't get enough praise, them two, for what they've done and for the number of years they've done it. But yeah, that's cool to hear that All-Star will be the first shows. Also, I'm going to be on commentary for Superstar Pro. And also, you're training. You're one of the trainers at the Claw Training School as well, with Jay Apter and Dave Faulkner and everyone there. So there's so much going on. But I look forward to calling your match with Superstar with Mike Angus.
Oh, mate, honestly, it's going to be such an honour again. To anything to sort of when I work with sort of Jay, I've not had, unfortunately, I've never had the chance previously to sort of work with Jay, but I've always kept in touch with him. At the time I was going to do some work for him. That's when I did my injury a couple of years ago, so we had to knock that on the head. But Jay and both sort of Dave, top guys. You're really well respected in the business and out of the business. Superstar Pro, I can't wait because it's fresh, it's brand new on the scene. And I just feel as though by being there from the beginning, I can contribute an input to all the way to the end. And then again, with sort of Claw, again, as you know, Shu, I've not been in the business long, but with my sort of coaching and teaching background, it's very helpful me to transition the skill into then sharing best practice for especially new beginners and existing sort of trainees in the business.
It's incredible with Claw because you've got Lizzie, there, a wealth of experience now. You know, one of the main females on the circuit. Dean Allmark goes without saying, doesn't it? Dave, and then your style. So there's just 4 different styles there, and it's going to be amazing for guys that are going to be coming in and training. What a hotbed of talent! You know, you guys being the trainers.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely sort of. Like I said, it's an honour to be part of that team, and I'm sure I'll be sort of learning a lot. For me, you know, Lizzie's she is the best. She's the best female on the independent scene at the minute. And again, sort of with Dean Allmark, I mean, he speaks for himself, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't think anybody can see Dean Allmark. I've had this conversation before. It reminds me of the Mr. Perfect of the UK. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, I'm with you.
And he's absolutely brilliant. And then obviously Dave Faulkner, I don't think anybody can even touch to sort of his ability and sort of his experience, what he's had. So honestly, absolutely blessed to be sort of part of that team, and hopefully can input and share the practice that I've picked up along the way.
I've noticed as well, going back to you in terms of your wrestling bookings, PCW, the show in September, you're front and centre on the poster, H. How cool is that? You got Doug Williams on there, Chris Masters, to name a few. How was that being front and centre on that poster for the anniversary?
Yeah, it's honestly, God, the only way I can explain it is it's absolutely mind-boggling because when I came into wrestling, I came in a lot later than everybody else. I played and coached a lot of football before I came into wrestling. So I was brand new to it, and PCW was one of the first sort of places that I approached, being closer to me at the time. Trained there, and they gave me my break. I class them as they put me on the map in that sense. And then I remember a lot of, you know, the caliber of talent that they'd have coming in and out. You know, and I'd just been watching with amazement and almost startled by the sort of starstruck, you could call it. And then just to kind of recently notice and see the poster come out yesterday and see myself right at the front. Honestly, it's just a feeling that I can't explain. I was just very emotional, actually. Do you know what I mean? Again, with the people that are on that poster. You know, it's a blessing, I would class it.
It's testament to your hard work. I know you're modest. You're a modest guy, but it's testament to you. It's testament to you, you know, in the short time. You say it's been quite short, your career so far. Amazing. Well done. Well done to you,
I appreciate that.
Honestly.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And again, it's... again, I just look forward to again, working with, you know, yourself. I'm really looking forward to that. I know we sort of met on one of these sort of other shows that we did. Yeah. It's sort of right. Yeah. It was fantastic to see. So I'm just looking forward to kind of branch out and just pick up new, and also just trying to showcase some abilities that people have not seen me do in the ring yet, because I'm always working very, very strictly character gimmick based. Yeah. And I think a lot of people become under the illusion that, oh, maybe he can't wrestle this way or he can't wrestle that way. But I've always said I would never kind of reveal all my cards at once. I'd always like to drip feed people and think, oh, what's he got what's he got next in the tank, you know? So
I think maybe that'll be the time actually to go on to that. Developing the Sheikh El Sham character. How long, you know, cultivating that from, like, you know, when you first started out to like getting it to that, you know, scenario of that character.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's a bit. The thing is, originally the character came from a cross between Prince Naseem Hamed, the boxer, and Floyd Mayweather. So I literally just try to combine the sort of both of them together. Now, I never ever wanted to go down the religious side of stuff. purely because, there's too much red tape involved. There's a lot of events. I didn't want to cause any offense to anybody or anything like that. And I think there was a point in my head when I was thinking, how am I going to be able to develop the character after I've showcased him for about 5 or 6 months? People are good. Like, they've come across so many sort of rich sort of guys. But I just keep finding sort of brand new things to keep myself updated. And I think it's very important for a character, for a gimmick to do that. So again, I mean, I can let you into this, Stewie, you know what I mean? So this time, sort of, when we all come back to wrestling, I can really go down the side of sort of the Hollywood Sheikh gimmick, because I've done the acting. I'm in the, do you know what I mean? So,
does it come like all in one go, developing the character, or has it took a long time piecing it together? Do you overthink it sometimes, developing it, or do you keep it? You manage to get it all how you like it straight away.
I think, do you know what? It's always difficult to get stuff first time. It's so hard. It's so difficult. And I think but at the beginning, I knew exactly how I wanted the character to come across. The character kind of then took a little bit of a swerve and a movement in a way which I didn't expect, and that was purely because of the reactions. I wasn't always getting the instant boos after a while. The boos started to turn a little bit like, it's a little bit of cheers. Oh, actually, he's quite funny. Or he's quite okay. He's quite a cool guy. And then that's why I started updating sort of the gear, what the Sheikh would wear, what the Sheikh would go and do, where the fast cars come into it. Dining out and then sort of the comedy side. You can slowly bring that into it, from such a serious gimmick to a bit of comedy coming in.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I honestly, this is. I think. Do you think people, speaking of gimmicks and stuff like that, sometimes do you think people do overthink it sometimes, and put, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think there's pressure on a lot of wrestlers, especially the younger wrestlers at the minute. I think you've got, and again, I'd love to sort of know your opinion on this as well. So I think what I find is there's sort of two sides, or a few sides, you could call it. You've got a side where you've got technically brilliant, gifted wrestlers, just so talented, absolutely superb, like great technicians, but they won't have a gimmick or a character. Then you have the other side who have all gimmick, all character, and I don't want to say are crap in the ring, but maybe not as good as what they're technically gifted are. And I think you always want to be able to slot on both. You want to be able to maneuver into both. You want to be technically sound, and you also need to have a strong character and gimmick. And where people get lost in the shuffle for me is where they're just a standard guy in trunks, guy or girl, in ring attire. That's generic, and don't showcase any interaction with the audience. I'd love to know your opinion, to be fair, in that sense.
I think it's just so hard the way I look at it. I got like an old-fashioned mentality, fan perspective now, because I've never wrestled. I think things have been done. So many things have been done, especially in the last 25, 30 years. It's hard to come out and come up with something original.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. If you can get a character, if you can, invest in it like yourself, and there's believability, it can be done. It can still be done. There's going to be ways that a character's not being done.
Definitely.
We all look at the pinnacle, don't we? The Attitude Era, as it pertains to, I think wrestling ability is a lot better now, but the characters are not as good. I think that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you in regards to sort of, I think there is people that do kind of overthink about their character gimmick. And I think for me, I think Sheikh's actually, you hear this quite a lot, and a lot of wrestlers will say this, but it should be sort of you times 1,000 or times 100, whatever people. And I'll be honest with you, if I look at the Sheikh's character deep, the reason why some of the stuff works because it genuinely comes from me. Do you know what I mean? Kind of being brought up in an Asian household who was from quite a well-off father, sent to private school. Do you know what I mean? Was told that he needed to have an education. Was given elocution lessons. And do you know what I mean? I know you can't tell now.
Hey.
But anyway, but in that, and then obviously, you know, it kind of then I thought, actually, you know, I've got a little bit of meat here that I can start, you know, applying to and adding to in terms of, and I think that's where the best sort of gimmicks and sort of characters, that's where they appear. The ones that do sort of overthink and want to go a little bit too wild, you'll notice that they'll die out a lot quicker. And then people are always rejigging or actually just kind of just reinventing themselves from the beginning rather than developing an ongoing character.
What do you think of modern wrestling that we see now? Obviously, the big leagues per se. When you watch, do you get time to watch it? I know you're busy. You're ahead of year in the school. You know that's you do that. You're in the gym. The wrestling's coming back. Do you get time? Do you get time to watch the current product?
If I'm honest, I'll catch sometimes I'll catch some of the highlights. I'll catch some of the NXT UK stuff, NXT, some of the AEW and the Raw and SmackDown, some of it. But I like to do sort of in my spare time. I do a lot of research and on the old school British style wrestling, and then the old school sort of the Attitude Era, and what some of the undercard matches which people would not acknowledge. You know, if you watch stuff like, and again, I'm going to be showing my age here now, Stu, but if you watch some of the matches from Taka Michinoku or Mark Merrow and Steve Blackman and Ken Sham, they had some great matches on the undercard.
Absolutely.
And them matches you would put in main events now.
Mm-hmm.
And you look back and you think, my gosh, how did I miss this when I was growing up? Then you realise you were just addicted to the stories that was going on.
Steve Blackman, just to go on to him, just to put a little bit of onus on him. He was legit. He was legit. You hear about him now. That guy could kick your ass. Absolutely, like well skilled in mixed martial arts. And then they put him in that head cheese gimmick with Al Snow when he's walking around with a cheese on his head.
Yeah,
but it's just crazy. But I think, like, going back to Ken Shamrock, because I've spoken about this before on previous shows I've had. Ken Shamrock was frustrating when you think he fought Michaels for the belt in the December. They only brought him in the March in 1997.
Yeah,
and he did amazing. And you know, I didn't know what UFC was at that point because we didn't get it. We did not get it. I know it started in '93, but yeah, as you say, your mid card guys back then, like you say, they could have easily been top of the card,
easily as well. And you know, you watch some of the sort of tag team matches, and then even if you go back a little bit further. And you watch your $1 Million Mans and you watch your Mr. Perfects, and even sort of at the time he was wrestling with a 1-2-3 Kid versus Bret the Hitman Hart. What an exceptional match that was! And you see some of the moves in there, and you think that is fantastic. And then obviously you fast forward to today, and you think. Imagine them matches on today. People will be, you know, standing ovations for matches like that. So,
who'd you like more currently? Which guys, when you do get a chance, who jumps out the screen at you as a talent? You know, an all rounder, someone who's got the gimmick, has got the move set, can tell a story in the ring.
I think you know what? There's for me, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot at the minute, but again, it's one of those whether they've you know been given the sort of opportunity. I mean, we're all a lot of the big names you're all aware. I mean, look at people like Chris Jericho. He's just been able to just reinvent, evolve through every single time. And it's something that never really, you don't get bored of watching him. You know what I mean? To people like that. But, you know, especially some of the young people, some of the young ones that are coming through now at the minute on NXT UK, I think it's fantastic to see some of them, especially from the UK, in terms of people that are coming through there. It was lovely. It was lovely to see Rampage Brown on there, because for me, he's class. He's absolute class, and I think he should have been signed many years ago, in my personal opinion. But yeah, there's a lot of guys and girls I think that are doing really well.
It's been amazing. It's good to see Shaw Samuels as well.
Oh, definitely.
It's great. It's great to see him on, showcase there. Years doing it for so many years, and it will bear fruit. It will bear fruit for people, won't it? Eventually, it's the grind, I think, as they say.
That's it. And the great thing about Shaw is he's been able to carry his character through into NXT UK, and I'll be honest, that's why Shaw is so good at what he does, is because I was quite blessed actually, because Shaw took me under his wing when I sort of first started, and he was able to tell me about the timings and how important it is to show out, especially when you're working as a heel, to show out at the times and the levels that you need to and the gears you need to change when you're in that ring. So when I watch sort of Shaw Samuels on there, I just think he's such a good fit for it. It's unbelievable.
Growing up, you said about touched upon tag team wrestling there. Some tag teams that you've enjoyed over the years. So
over the years, when it comes to sort of tag team, like I said, I watched a lot of the Attitude Era as I was sort of growing up. At the times it was the Hardy Boys, you had the Headbangers, the New Age Outlaws were coming through, which were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. For me, they were the all-rounders, and I'm not surprised that they were sort of pushed to them. The Rockets were just strapped on them. And the great thing about them, before they were put together, they were on so different paths. You know what I mean? And I know sort of Billy Guns did have a lot of tag team experience prior to it, but once they were put together, I had the opportunity to speak to Billy Gunn about the sort of tag teaming stuff, and he said the way me and the Road Dogg clicked, he said it just felt so natural. And as you know, Shuiz, in terms of how good Road Dogg is on the mic, and Billy just said I just kind of fit in easily because I was able to put my charisma and my athleticism over when he'd do all the talking, so it was just a perfect fit.
They made a mistake with DX, when they broke them up. So it would have been around 99, wouldn't it? And then in the back end of 99, they were back together. Everyone was... Yeah. Triple H went off for China, didn't into the corporation and stuff like that. Yeah. For me, there was still more. They should have kept them going. Them going. I know initially they had them as heels, and then they got so over, and they had the crowd reaction. It was just it's just brilliant. Attitude Era is not my favourite time personally. I'm more early 90s. I love the Attitude Era. But I loved it. You're saying about $1 Million Man. I hated him as a kid. I hated him. I was always Ultimate Warrior H. Everyone said were you Hogan or Warrior. Warrior, absolutely. And Bret Hart to this day. Bret Hart, just timeless. The matches with Bret.
So were you a fan of sort of the tag team as well? Was it the Anvil and Bret?
Yeah. Heart Foundation, absolutely. Yeah. It was just chock to the nines. The tag division back then, like Demolition, when the Nasty Boys came in more latterly. Powers of Pain, H.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss people off. I like the Killer Bees, Brian Blair, and Brunzel.
Then you had the Brainbusters in there as well.
Yeah, when they came over, that got cut short a little bit. I know. I'm trying to think of his name now. It's gone. Tully Blanchard had his demons, I think, didn't he? And they binned him
Yeah.
off. But yeah, superb. Then yeah, absolutely, it was good. Good speaking about the old times, man. Absolutely.
Cool.
Now, I was doing some research earlier today, mate, and I didn't know you'd taken on Moose in PCW.
That's right. Yeah.
I was like, oh my days! Like, I'd seen matches. And I was like, I've unearthed this gem, you and Moose. How was that? Because he's he's very physical. So how was it pitting your wits against the man the caliber of Moose?
Mate, honestly, I'll be honest with you. How that sort of worked out was, I had no idea I was wrestling Moose until the morning of the show. Yeah, all I was told is, because I was green as, I mean, I'm green now. I class myself as green now, but then I was flipping green as, man. And I was told, literally in the morning as I got to the venue, everyone was saying who they've got. I was like, hang on, am I not booked today? It looks like my name's not on the list, because all the trainees and all the new guys and girls were in some sort of rumble, were in some sort of battle royal. And I thought, oh, it's all right, it'll be all right, because you know what I mean, I was very, very nervous. The booker comes over to me and the promoter at the time, and they said to me, H, make sure you're in top condition. I was like, yeah, I always am in top condition. Well, you're in the Road to Glory tournament with Moose. What? So straight away, I'm caught off guard. And after that, I just remember being so nervous, walking back and forth, waiting. I was waiting for Moose to get there. Soon as he got there, he's a big guy, man. He's a big guy, you know. So I think I was a little bit startled by his size, thinking, "Oh, I didn't realize how big he was." So as soon as he got there, I kind of jumped on him, and he kind of thought, I think he would have been like, "Who the heck is this guy? This guy want me to sign something? Is he a fan or something?" Because just the way I went up to him, I was like, "Oh, we're working together. We're working together. What do you want to do? Is there anything you want me to do?" And I'll be honest with you, the guy was so polite, absolute gent. He looked after me all the way through that match. But man, the guy hits hard. I tell you that now. He totally hits hard. It was so nice of him to be so patient and talk through as many times I wanted to talk through. He kept me going through the match as well. But yeah, as soon as I took that first chop of him, I thought my heart had stopped. I genuinely thought my heart had stopped beating because his hands are so big. But yeah, what a mind-blowing experience that was. Honestly, it's I was so grateful and thankful. And you know what? That was the actual first time the Sheikh actually got like a sort of a standing ovation or an applause after a match, which at the end of the match, I was very sort of like, how do I play this now? I'm still sort of the Sheikh. I don't really want them to cheer. But at the same time, I don't want them to kind of shut up, because I appreciate that they've appreciated me having this match with Moose. So.
That's the beauty right there. Where you're a heel, but you could be face. You know, I know heel and face is different these days. You know, you can be a bad guy and still be loved and cheered and all that. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. But did you lay it in, obviously with Moose laying it in on you? Because he surely wanted you to lay it back. He wanted it back, surely.
Yeah, he So I've obviously been very, very green, very green at the time. You're always kind of have this in your head where you don't want to go in too hard with someone, because you might get called, oh, you're stiff, and you might get it in the back when you go back. Especially there's an import, there's someone that's come over someone who's so highly sort of regarded in the business, and you know, I'm sure he was holding some title at Impact at the time. I can't remember which title it was that he was holding at Impact, but I thought the last thing I want to do is you know, just clock him. You know, I don't want to end up clocking him. But he was saying to me that throw him in a little bit more harder, and I tried. And when we got into the back, he was like, "You know, you could have hit me harder," and I was like, "I didn't really want to hit you harder than that." Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know, do you? Do you know what I mean? Someone can tell you. Someone can say to you, "Hit me harder," and if you go in sort of full capacity and they're like, "Oh, not that hard."
I always wonder with you guys, like psychology and stuff. How is it, you know, grasping psychology in the ring? Because a lot of people talk about that and telling the story. How do you find that aspect of it with pro wrestling?
You know what? I'll be honest with you, that's the bit that kind of I was attracted to initially. Do you know, like when you're a kid and you watch a magician and you're dazzled by the magic tricks, but I was always a kid that wanted to know how them tricks were done, rather than, oh, that magic trick's cool. I just wanted to know how it were done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and in terms of within wrestling, I was so mesmerized by the sort of storytelling aspect, thinking, oh my gosh, you've got 3 people in there, because I include the referee, because I think they play a big part as well. And you've got 3 people in there who are able to have you on the edge of your seat from putting on a performance utilizing a sport. And I just think, wow, what a concept that is. So in terms of, for me, I've always wanted to be, I love to have the people guessing, in terms of, instead of predicting, because now wrestling, I think what's happened is a lot of the fans know what's coming in certain shows, and I like to throw them off a little bit and try to give them surprises, like, oh, you didn't expect that, did you? So that's what I try to play around with a little bit of psychology now, and try and make them think they know what's coming next, but then all of a sudden you kind of hit them with something, and they're like, oh, we've never seen that before. Oh, hang on a minute, why has that not gone to this next bit? And I think that's important. It's definitely important, where we need to give that sort of a surprise, that shock, that factor again to the people who are watching.
I take away from that, it's like the layers of it that you need to have. You hear about guys just not hitting it on psychology, you know, from top level guys. So I wanted to ask you that, H, I'm always mesmerized by that side of it.
Yeah, what's true in terms of sort of psychology? What's your understanding? If I were to say to you in terms of understanding of sort of psychology in wrestling, as you obviously watching it for many years, and obviously you've done bits and bats, and you're starting some commentary, and you've done commentary before.
No, I'll be honest with you. I've told Jay I was panicking at first. And he's like, you'll be all right, lad. I said, look, if I'm doing stuff wrong, you need to tell me. I'm only basing it off what I've heard. And like, you know, I turned around to Angus and I said, oh, you know, I'll be like Bobby Heenan. I could never be like Bobby Heenan. But that's what I'd like to do with it, you know. But no, I've never commentated, believe it or not. It was always something I wanted to do. I wanted to be a football commentator years ago when I was a kid.
Yeah, but this is what I was going to say to you from when I spoke to you previously, and obviously I've been speaking to you. Like, you're great. You're such a great analyst. You analyse stuff so well.
Thank you.
And how you know, it's how you come across and how you carry yourself. And obviously, I've watched a lot of your sort of podcasts before, and I think it is a big difference in terms of a lot of other podcasts out there, and compared to yours, where I genuinely feel that people, you know, the questions that you ask, it's actually getting right down to the bones rather than just skimming over the top. So I'm just really sort of intrigued in terms of what.
In a psychology aspect, right? The way I could be wrong here. This is my perception of it. Where in a match where you work a body part, say, am I right here? I don't know. You tell me if I'm wrong. say Bret Hart's come down to ring, his leg from a previous match isn't right. So he's in there with Owen Hart. So Owen Hart worked the leg, then he went ground based. I don't know. I'm probably not hitting the mark here.
No, spot on.
Is that correct there? That's how I perceive it. Then the fans see there's a story as to why he's doing that.
Yeah, spot on. And this is part of the psychology side of it. It's telling the story. And for me, it's always so I'll give you an example. So if I were to hit a suplex, surely my back's going to be a little bit hurt as well as the person that I've suplexed. That for me is psychology. Do you know what I mean?
Sell the bump, sell that. Absolutely. You see guys getting up too fast, where years ago, yeah, as you say, I'd take that. No, 100%. I jumped.
Do you know what I mean? So it's and again, it doesn't have to be sort of your first suplex, but especially as the match goes on, fatigue's going to kick in. You've hit the ring a lot of times. You've bumped a lot of times. You are going to pick up niggles. You know what I mean? Surely, if you've been taking a beating in what we call the heat, you've been taking a beating. And then all of a sudden you get nowadays, and I've seen this a lot, and I guess it's true. If you watch some of the matches now recently, and especially on the independent scene, the guys and girls, oh mate, they're like Superman as soon as it's time to come back. But you're thinking to yourself, for the last 6 minutes, that guy's just been working on your back,
dogging you, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Bro?
Yeah. I even like psychology in a promo. H. I'll say the best promo guy, I think, still to this day, soft-spoken doing it, but he was spiteful as a heel as well. I know his face for a while. Jake Roberts. That's how you hit a promo. And I think, you look at AEW now, he's obviously in with AEW with Lance Archer there. And what a wealth of experience. Like, as much as psychology in the ring, but it was his psychology out the ring.
He's just, the guy was so good. He was so good. You know what I mean? You should be able to bring people in with, because at the time, you're right, everybody would shout. Everybody would shout at the camera, wouldn't they? And a lot of the times, you didn't really know what they were shouting about. And then you had Jake the Snake, who you'd be switched on because you're like, hang on a minute, he's not shouting. He's actually talking in a better way. But then you'd see the emotions on his face through his eyes. He'd lock you in with his eyes. And then then it became a time where the cameraman would genuinely just focus straight on Jake the Snake's face and cut out Mean Gene altogether. Do you know what I mean? That's how it was. But no, I totally agree. Nowadays, people just do promos just for the sake of, I want to be able to do a promo on someone. With all due respect, I mean, I practice promos quite a lot, if I'm honest with you. I cut promos on the kids at sort of school. Do you know what I mean?
What do they think of Mr. Haidry like when you're in that? The wrestler, are they blown away by the fact you wrestle?
Yeah, I think it gives me quite a lot of credibility, especially at this school. It was this new role that I've taken as head of year.
Yeah,
they love the fact that their head of year is a wrestler. Do you know what I mean? That's all I get. I get like parents asking to speak to me. Oh, can we speak to the wrestler teacher? Do you know what I mean? That's all I get.
Hold on a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
But I like how they've sort of responded to it, because there's the respect aspect there, and I think they appreciate that I do something else in my time away from work, and I'm not just, I'm not just doing nothing. But again, yeah. So the promo side of stuff, I always practice, and luckily I've been. I'm blessed to speak a few different languages, and I've been practicing in different languages at the minute as well. And I think you should be able to cut a promo on absolutely anything. It could be something tangible like a table, or another person who you're going to be in a match with.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I want to get on to you now. One thing I really like to hear about is etiquette backstage at shows. And I've heard of a lot of guys stateside. Some guys don't even like shake hands with people. I don't know if you've ever experienced that or seen it. And then also as well, people not asking vets questions about how to do this, how to do that. I've heard a lot of that, over the course of doing this podcast, H.
Yeah, it's a massive thing, Stu. It's a massive thing. I think so. Just sort of coming from a footballing background, as you'll know as well, being a football fan. Yeah, there's time and a place to have a laugh with the lads in the changing room, but when you work or when you play for a semi-pro or a professional sort of club, there's no space for any disrespect or just sort of, you've got to be well mannered. That basically means keeping the changing rooms clean, shaking everybody's hand. It doesn't matter whether it's the guy who washes all the football tops, right, or whether it's the manager himself. And I was able to carry this through into sort of wrestling, and I think I was lucky in that sense. So there is, and I just thought it was nothing in terms of I always go backstage, changing rooms, introduce myself, shake hands, before I even sit down and make myself comfortable. And then obviously there's the aspect of you clean up after yourself, whether that's tape, whether that's bottles of drink or whatnot. Keep a carrier bag. I always keep a carrier bag with me when I know I'm taking all my rubbish with me. And for me, even till this day as well, I will always ask for feedback or ask for the vets. Please, sir, may you watch my match just to see if you can give me. Now, this is very important. This next bit is, please, can you give me areas of improvement, rather than can you tell me how fucking good I am? Sorry for swearing.
No, you're right. We put the expletive symbol on every episode, whether people swear or not. You're all right. You're fine. You can.
I was doing well up till then. Sorry.
It's all right. No, it's fine. It's fine.
So yeah, rather than can you tell me how good I am, because the point is the veterans, first of all, they're taking their time out to watch your match. Okay. Now I've witnessed this you backstage where you've had guys and girls who have asked veterans to watch their match. When they've asked them for feedback, they've not been happy with the feedback, so they've walked off in a huff and a puff. And it's been very disrespectful. And I've thought to myself, I just can't believe that you've done that. And what they're doing is, and they don't see this, is they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're actually sort of spoiling their future opportunities, because as you know, sort of when you go into any business, the veterans are always going to talk to one another, and they're going to know the promoters a lot more than we are as being brand new into it. And I genuinely think respect is such a massive thing. Now, obviously, I refer to a lot of the veterans as Sir or Mr. with their surname. I'm not saying you have to do that. That's just the way I've personally been brought up.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a lot of people now, and again, I don't want to point fingers, but a lot of the sort of youngsters that are coming through the sort of ranks, where I think that's getting missed out at training. When they're training, they're getting missed. That's getting missed in terms of the manners, respect, etiquette, how you talk, how you communicate. The problem is nowadays with social media, they don't think they have to go up to someone and stick their hand out, because they think, oh, now I'm on a show, I don't need to do that because I've made it onto a show. But I wish I could go to every training school and say, look, we still all bleed the same colour. We're all exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? And the guys and girls, the veterans who have been there and opened the doors for us before that, them are the ones where you should put your head down and respect and please ask for feedback in terms of areas of improvement. How can I excel at this? is there any advice you can give me on how to make this better?
It's not just like you say. You've got to have everything, haven't you? With it, it's not just it's not just in the ring, is it? It's the whole.
Yeah.
You've got to have the whole kit and caboodle, H.
And I think this is why sometimes people can give the business a bad name, and I'm totally against that as well, because the wrestling business is a beautiful business. It's amazing, and it's a privilege and honor to be in the business and be in that ring. Hence why you wipe your feet before you get in that ring. It's a respect thing, and the thing is, wrestling doesn't need us. Do you know what I mean? We need it more. It doesn't owe us anything. So when I see certain people come in with sort of attitudes and just some with disrespect, I always put it, I hope that it's just because they've not been taught. But then when you realise it's just blatant ignorance, it doesn't really go well with everybody else, because everybody realises.
Thanks for answering that. Not it wasn't a question as an expose of it. I just wanted your opinion. It's just common sense. I think that's what I take away.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a common sense thing, surely.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the fact that you said that, Shane, because that's the point that I'm trying to make. Because how much of it, I've sat in an all-star changing room with some legends, British wrestling legends. You've got, there's been sort of Marty Jones has been sat there. You've got, you got people like James Mason, Dean Allmark, Gary Littlewood, and people like that around you who have been wrestled everywhere. And I'm sat there, and with all due respect, mouth closed, ears open, because how much am I going to learn just by sat there and listening is more than I could ever learn by spending time on my phone or running my mouth about something what happened at the corner shop.
It's well put, and I'll make a point of this part of the episode for youngsters coming into the business. With this, definitely we'll make a clip out of this one. Just etiquette down, that's it. I think now would be a perfect time to talk about your film and TV. Film and TV roles. I don't know how you fit all this in, I mean, I know the wrestling hasn't been going on per se, but it will be. Yeah. How'd you do it? How'd you do it all?
Oh, mate. It again, and I think this all sort of sparked when obviously we went into sort of national lockdown, and I was like, okay, now what do I do with my time now that wrestling's done? Ended up spending a lot of money and set up a home gym, which was quite good. So I was able to work out, and I thought, right, what do I do with the rest of my time now? So I genuinely just got online and set up a little profile in regards to sort of acting, and I thought, let's see what can come out of it. I got a couple of gigs doing some music videos, and I worked as a security guard and a bouncer, lucky enough. And then the sort of filming crew and the casting agents kind of saw my look in person and thought, oh, you'd be brilliant for this, this, and this, and kind of start throwing my name out. And it's almost like networking, isn't it, where you just kind of go and speak to people. Did a couple of sort of modelling shoots as well. And then that kind of transitioned into picking up a Netflix series and as a small part. And the one I'm really looking forward to is the Amazon Prime series, where table reads start next month. Filming starts in December.
Brilliant.
And I'm really, really looking forward to being part of that, because that's it's all about demons and angels. So it's in a really, really sort of fantasy style. You could almost think Thor style series.
Yeah.
So, and the role that I've got is they're sort of demons that are trapped in sort of human bodies. So the guy that I've got, he's on death row at the minute. He's in prison, and the other sort of demons and angels are coming to ask him for sort of help because they need to protect planet Earth. He gives them the thumbs up. As he comes out, he goes and does his own stuff. So he's a bit of a heelish kind of guy. But yeah, I kind of just matched the criteria that they wanted. They just wanted someone who was brown and jacked, and I thought, oh, that's all right. Yeah.
I'll tick all them boxes. Winning. Oh, that's amazing. You know, big productions. You know, that, with it being on Prime, and obviously you've done Netflix stuff. Incredible, mate. Just incredible. What will happen with school and stuff? Your day job? How can you work it around it?
So luckily, with this sort of, this Amazon Prime, like the Netflix one is, I've just done it. It's literally did this little small part in, which again, I'm really grateful for it though. Really grateful because gets my foot in the door with them. But with this Amazon Prime one, obviously I made them aware that obviously I've got a full-time job a minute, so we're going to work. My scenes are going to be worked around the school sort of setting in terms of my day. However, because they've given me the whole of series 1, if it's a success and then we go back for the next 3 series, then maybe I'd have to kind of maybe get a little bit of time off sort of work, and surely I can have a chat with the boss and say, look, mate, I'm going to be on TV, mate. Do me a favour here. So
that's cool, man. That's cool. Which actors have inspired you in that side of things?
I'll be honest with you. I was just a huge sort of action fan when I was growing up. I love the Van Damme, the Schwarzeneggers, the Stallones, all the sort of Steven Seagals, all the old school. So absolutely loved him. And then as sort of time went on, I remember watching Training Day and Denzel Washington in that, and I just thought, mate, that is brilliant. His acting was absolutely it just stood out to me. So yeah, it's just sort of it's just things like that, and I've got another one coming up, which is just a battle scene where they want like a barbarian style gimmick. So I'm grateful to get the Amazon one because I'm going to be able to talk a lot more in it.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of grunt and get killed. So
I love. Do you know what I like? Obviously, it's people retaining their lines from a script. Because I couldn't do it. I'm literally mesmerized by how these actors retain all the verbal side for these roles. So how do you find that?
Oh, what I found is 9 times out of 10. So the ones that I've done, a lot of them have been sort of short films or episodes or pilots. And 9 times out of 10, the producers aren't too fussed if you get the line word for word. They want you to kind of indulge with the character and kind of see what would sound right. And I think, lucky enough, because of the wrestling and being able to do promos, and the promoter and the booker will always come to you and say to you, "Oh, we want you to do a promo," and they won't tell me word for word because they just say, "We want you to go down this line," and they give you a little bit of free running with it. And sometimes I think, oh, I just wish you'd had a script for me so I could go off. But in this sense, it's good that you have a script. Oh, mate, the outtakes are brilliant. The outtakes are fantastic, and I'm always cracking daft jokes and using my colour as an advantage to make jokes.
That's cool, man. No, it's amazing. Absolutely, it's brilliant. I love the fact you're getting roles as well. I'm sure it's
Tuesday, thank
it's going to be good. I can't wait to see that on Prime. I'll have to keep my subscription with Prime, I think. let us know when it's dropping, H.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Right, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to go back to wrestling.
Yep.
I always ask the guys, maybe a top 3 matches. I find it hard myself to limit myself to 3. But yeah, off the top of your head, top 3 matches as a fan, maybe when you were growing up, maybe some more recent stuff, fan perspective. I know it's hard, H.
Okay. Top 3 matches that I've watched, right? Well, the first one I'm going to go with is WrestleMania 5, right? Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, where the Mega Powers exploded. Brilliant, just brilliant. And I don't care, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you would enjoy that match. Then I'm going to go for Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels ladder match. The first one that they had. And then number 3, well, this is actually so difficult. It's so difficult.
I could do a top 50. It's like when they ask me about a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, I can't limit myself. I can't limit myself, but yeah.
You know, there's this in my head. There's an Undertaker and a Shawn Michaels match up there, but then I've also seen a fantastic match, which is not a main event match, but a Dean Malenko and a Chris Benoit match, which was superb. But that's just for the technical side of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd be torn between them two in that sense. Yeah,
it's quite the mix. I just watched the Shawn Michaels documentary actually. On WWE do with A&E, amazing. I tell you what, he tried Vince's patience. He said and Undertaker said as well, he didn't get on with him. There's many years there where he did. He said when Shawn obviously went the religious route, they get on like a house on fire now. But yeah, you can't say he still delivered.
Oh man,
time and time again. You can't.
Definitely one of the best. I mean, you'd be daft not to class him as one of the best, maybe the best in-ring performer, as they call it,
Flair said it. Flair said it.
I mean, if that's coming from Ric Flair.
I think, and he was, I was at his Hall of Fame induction. I was over for that. And he never lost sight. As much as I think he was arrogant with talent backstage, he said about the fans, he was never arrogant. He appreciated the fans, which
definitely,
as much as he had his demons and stuff like that, which was nice to hear. But yeah, some good mixture of matches there, H. Like fan reaction with Ultimate Warrior and Hogan.
Oh yeah.
You could,
because everyone always talks about the Hogan and Rock. When Hollywood Hogan and The Rock went against and how the fans sort of switched. But the split between Warrior and Hogan, for that time, it's just deafening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just so good.
I love it when they always say about Edge and Christian being ringside and they zoom in when they were kids. And then it's mad to think, isn't it? They ended up being they got to the tippy top in the business. So H, I think it's perfect now in closing to tell the listeners and the viewers where they can find you. So Sheikh El Sham stuff. Yeah, just your socials.
Oh, cheers.
Where they can find you, points of contact.
Brilliant. So Instagram is probably the main bit where it's just at Sheikh El Sham. Twitter is the other sort of handle that you could use at Sheikh El Sham. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me today.
It's been brilliant. It's been good.
It's been an absolute blessed, mate.
Finally got it done. I know you squeezing me in to do it as well. I appreciate it, mate.
No, not at all. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure now. But before you go, you've got to give me your top 3 as well.
In matches matches. They're all Bret Hart. They're all Bret Hart.
Are they?
Yeah. Do you know, I was at SummerSlam 92 at Wembley.
Wow.
I was there. I was at Wembley Stadium with Dad.
Was that with the Bulldog?
Bulldog and Bret.
What a match that
I mean,
was,
I was
mate.
6 years old at that point. So I always say, I said this to Tyson Kidd, TJ Wilson, when we were on. You know, he's obviously very close to the family. And I said, I wish I was older. I wish I was older. I remember it, but not to the extent that I could have done if I was older watching it. But yeah, Bret versus Bulldog. Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart, SummerSlam 91.
Wow, what a match, yeah.
Absolute masterclass. And I've said it before, it's when he took Perfect Singlet, as much as he had the IC title, which was what he was fighting for, he had the, you know, Perfect Singlet as a trophy over his shoulder. Just little things. Not that I noticed that or thought much of it as a kid, but when you watch it and you're a bit older.
When you watch it back,
absolutely. Yeah. And then finally, Roddy Piper and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8 at the Hoosier Dome.
It's a cracking match.
It's how they got everything in 13 minutes. And the promo beforehand, Piper's going off on one saying he went to Hart House. And Mrs. Hart was slapping on the bologna on the sandwiches. It was only one piece of bologna, but I was hungry. He's just like typical Piper. And then, you know, and he made Bret. It was a transition. It was to make Bret, wasn't it? Piper put him over amazing. You know, just everything about all their matches, not necessarily in that order. H. Yeah,
no, brilliant. That's again a great point. It's such a professional thing to do, isn't it? Putting people over and doing it in the right manner. You know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Timeless, all their matches. Absolutely. My guest today, it is Sheikh El Sham, Hayche Haidry, film star, wrestler, head of year. He's a school teacher as well. I do not know you get it all in. And then you're going to be training people at Claw in Wigan there very, very soon. Can't wait to call your matches at Superstar Pro. I'm looking forward to that with Mike Angus. Thank you so much for coming on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute honour. Thank you.
A big thank you to Powered 4 TV for putting the episodes up on the on-demand service there. Big thank you to John Scott and Rich Crowhurst for all the support. Really appreciate it week in, week out. Nothing's ever a problem. Also, we're doing Powered 4 TV Big Fight Weekly, the MMA and boxing show with my cousin Rich and John have put on these first. It's been fantastic with that. Thank you to Chris Dutton again, as always, for the superb editing. I couldn't do this without him. And fantastic job once again. Thank you to Mike Angus for the intro, as always, to the show. You can find the Stu's Wrestling Podcast merch at WrestleMerchCentral.com. There is loads of stuff, lots of different items that you can get. Mugs, hats, face coverings, t-shirts, hoodies, even the new varsity jacket with embroidered Stu's Wrestling Podcast logo on it. Big thank you once again to Dean and the team for listing my products on there. Great work. And we will see you soon for the next episode of Stu's Wrestling Podcast.